morning, everybody. My name is Shraddha Ghosh. I'm the founder of Pixel Learn, and I'm also the lead faculty here. I'm joined today by Laxmi Maheshwari. She is a student who's joined us for the entire comprehensive course for CPA, and she has completed all the course one at a time, one paper at a time. So that means effectively she wrote a paper once in every 3.5, 4 months, and she successfully completed it. So today we have organized this. Lakshmi, thank you so much for doing it for us. But the idea is to reach out to more and more CPA students to give them the courage that in case if you are also in a similar boat, you should be in a position to clear this paper in 12 to 14 months' time. So congratulations once again, Lakshmi, and thank you so much once again. So before we start, can you please tell us something about yourself?
First,
Yeah, just so that the users know who you are. Yes.
right. I'll really thank you for helping me through this journey. So, hi everyone. I am Laxmi Maheshwari. I'm an Indian CA and I completed my US CPA last year in October. And on professional level, I have 6 years of work experience, then a gap of 6 years now. And right now, I'm looking for a new job. And I'm really thankful for Shraddha ma'am to teach me through this US CPA journey and always guide me. So I was able to complete it, like as ma'am said, once one paper at a time. I was able to do that. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay. So Lakshmi, where are you based right now?
Right now, I'm in British Columbia, Canada.
Okay. And so can you tell us why did be a course? How did it fit in the bigger picture?
So, ma'am, I did US CPA basically because I have an Indian CA and I wanted to do something in the same similar lines. And on top of that, now like we were planning to settle abroad, so I thought it would be a better opportunity for me to do an international course like CPA. So I did that and I did US CPA because when I joined you, I was in US and that time we didn't had a plan to move. So that's why I joined US CPA instead of Canadian CPA. So that was how I went about it. And like I was thinking like another year or two I will be able to work in US. So I thought before that I could complete my US CPA. So it could give me better opportunities in US. Indian CAs do get, but obviously if you have the US credential, it will be helping me with better opportunities. So
Okay. And I think you're also aware that there is an MOU between US and Canada. So now I think you'll just have to file some paperwork. You don't
yeah.
have to sit for the entire Canadian CPA exam.
Right. And an experience is like a particular, I think 2 years of experience is needed.
So I think that would help you because you don't have to restart the cycle again. We would probably have to file some paperwork and get some credentials done. And of course, the fact that you moved again one country to another, I think that could also be the reason why it will take us a little bit of time to get into where we are. But I'm sure this
Right.
is going to fit into your bigger scheme of things.
Right, definitely, ma'am.
Yeah. So, Lakshmi, can you tell me more about how did you study? Like, what was your pattern of studies? How, because you were with U World, right? So
Yeah.
you were with U World and you had attended all the classes. But just let us know how did you study? What was your preparation strategy?
So the first thing was to attend your live lecture because there it was like a two-way communication. I can always reach out to you with any problem at that particular time itself. So, and then I would like read the same thing from the book and refer to your notes. I mean, it was not necessarily every time that you have to read the complete chapter, but your notes were pretty much enough for it. And then doing the questions in UWorld and those given by you, like after every session, you were giving some exams, right? So those were really helpful to study. And like doing it on a continuous basis, attending the classes, there was a plan was there. So every time I am taking out time and studying. So regular studies really helped. And like if I'll have any confusion in the material, I could go back, I could look at the video and I could get a clarification. Okay, oh, this was because here it's like too much conceptual. Like even a word here or there could change the answer. So at times that used to happen a lot, especially in the initial years, like in the initial paper. So I could go back, watch your video, and that was really helpful, like clearing all the doubts. It was very helpful to do that.
I do remember that you were there in all our classes. I don't remember a single class that you had missed. You were very attentive, and I think that also made a lot of difference because you were able to write the papers exactly in the time scale that we had that we
Right.
had envisaged. So that was really good. The concepts were very clear right from the beginning. So that I think really made a difference. So if you think about your Indian CA preparation, and if I think about the experience that you had writing a US CPA, can you tell us where do you think was the difference? Did that help? How was the experience different when you wrote the papers?
So, like, if I go starting with Indian CA, like, and when I joined in USCPA, so like the concepts were already clear, but in USCPA there are a few different things. And if we talk about this exam pattern in Indian CA, you get a question, you have to write the answer, right? But if it's multiple choice, you should know like which is the wrong answer. So there, like I said earlier, write a word here, a word there, it could impact a lot. So the concept should be like 100% clear, otherwise it was very difficult to like crack the MCQs. And also for the case studies, like I told you earlier, right, I was not doing the case studies, but you push, no, you have to do that, the simulation. So that, like that push, and especially your sessions on just the case studies, like right after the course was done you would take up. So that was really helpful because in that you took from all the materials. It was variety of questions which were there for us to go through. At times you know a concept, but just a little bit change the answer. So it was really helpful. So all that, like that like you need to know the concept like 100% to do it, because you have to cross out the wrong answer. But to write a answer, it's still little easier. So I think that's the difference.
Did you feel at any point of time that your work X really helped? Like the paper was applied, and the fact that you've worked for 6 years, that made a difference in you when you wrote your papers?
Like to a little extent, I would say yes, because I knew what was going on. When I was studying, I was just studying. I didn't knew what was the outside world looked like. So when I had work experience, I could like correlate it little better. So that also helped. Yeah.
Let's say if you were to talk to yourself 1.5 years back, would you do anything differently? And
I could
would
have started it earlier.
okay, but okay. So if you let's say if you're talking to somebody who's writing the paper right now, how or what are the three key advice that you would want to give that person?
So the first is, like I started it after a big gap. So, and I don't think there's a proper structure to study here. So I think anyone should refer to a particular plan, like maybe you are offering your classes, something like that. Like they should go and take the videos or the classes. So it's little easier to understand because there's a lot to study. And usually like all the students of yours and everyone was working, or they had kids to like to take care of for. So we don't usually have a lot of time. So but since I took your class, it was little easier for me to understand and grab things, and it took lesser time. I think if I would have to study by myself, I don't know by when I would have actually cleared it. So, and there was a structure. You always explained, okay, this is not working for you, try this. This is not working, try this. Because for each exam, like I remember for reg and audit as well, in starting chapters you said like listen the lesson, do the questions, then read it again. So that was really helpful. Like for every subject you would give personalized advices. So all that really helped to study it better. So I would like some, like everyone to have some kind of structure where they could refer it and like study maybe from you, or like everyone has their own preferences, but there should be a structure definitely. It would really help a lot.
Okay.
For
So
me, it really helped when you taught, like it really helped a lot.
yeah, see, that has been our endeavor also, frankly speaking, because my experience says that it's very difficult to let a working professional or somebody who's not just a student now. And also, this is one thing that I keep telling most of my students that we have been, especially in India, we have been seekers when we wrote our Indian CA or any other papers that we wrote, maybe a graduate level or an MBA, because we used to have everything on our plate, right? We used to
Right.
sit and study, and our parents used to, because that's the
Right.
culture here, right? And now suddenly your roles are shifting. You are no longer, you have to be a provider, you're working, you're managing a family, you're doing other stuff, and you have to do CPA. So time is, I think, the biggest constraint. And I think I really agree with you. If you are in an environment where everybody else is also studying and preparing, and there is a structure, so that you have to think of only 1 week, because that's what we've been
Right.
doing, right? We're trying to tell the students that think of just 1 week. If you finish the
Right.
deliverable for 1 week, then you're sorted. And like that, once you're done with, like, let's say 4 weeks or 8 weeks, we plan your exam dates, and then you get your NTS. And the moment your NTS is booked, now you
Yeah,
know you're writing your paper, right?
right,
So,
right,
yeah,
right.
that really helps. I do agree. But then, of course, it's a two-way journey. So we also need a student as serious as you, who would take the thing as seriously as you did, right? So yes, I do agree, and I hope there are lots of others. Because see, there are people who tell me even now that you need to get your exam date booked. The moment our exam day is booked, we know that now
Yeah,
we're escaping, right? So
right.
yes, that's okay. So one is that you need to have a structure, and what are the other two advice that you would give the students?
I would say like not to refer to different subjects, like different courses or something. Like if you're taking up one, just be with it, because I believe if I'm referring to one particular thing in 10 subject, like 10 books, it will be difficult for me to remember, and I'll not be confident at the end of the day. So that is really important. So just take whatever. It's not like any particular course you're taking up, they'll have questions of what will come in exam. It's not like that. So whatever you're studying, just go through it thoroughly. Concept should be clear. That should be there, instead of running after like all the materials and looking after all the questions. So and
So you
practice.
were happy with your world. You were
Yeah,
happy with your world, right? You
right.
you stayed with your world. You finished your world. You so basically you followed the full structure that we have set, the training that
Right.
we gave, and the material that you world gave, and it was a very good combination for you that
Yeah,
way.
definitely, ma'am.
Okay.
Definitely.
See, what according to you was the most difficult paper to crack? Was there any such paper that you really thought was the one that took you to your limits?
I think I'll say BEC because that was my first paper, and I was like really scared to start studies again. Like I've been always talking to you, ma'am, can I do it? Will I be able to do it? So like once you clear one, you will know, okay, like I can clear others as well. That confidence comes in. And like study wise, I think audit is little difficult. It has always been difficult for me. Though it was little
Yes.
easier when someone is actually teaching you and like guiding you through it. You have practical examples and everything. So, but still, I'll say BC was more difficult because it's for the
For the
first
fact that
TIT. So, yeah.
you wrote a paper before 2024, and then you
Yeah.
wrote three papers thereafter. Were you able to decipher any change in the ask of the question, or was there anything that you could notice at your end?
I think like the subjects which we were studying, if they had any topic which was related to another subject, so that was also there conceptually. Like you should be knowing that okay, if an audit they are asking something related to BC, it BC should have been clear to you. So like audit had few things like that. So I think that really helped as well because I was already cleared with BC. So I knew okay, this if they are talking, okay, it can be this. So it was like that. So yeah, I don't know about like others, like how it was earlier, but yeah, the new exams they had like they have covering of everything. It was more of a practical thing instead of I think just the concepts. Like more practical approach was needed.
So more applied approach, right?
Yeah, right,
And
right.
the synergies between topics were very important. Like how are
Yes,
you able to navigate between the topics, and how could you study in a format where you could apply the knowledge of the earlier paper with the current paper that you're having?
right, right,
Yeah.
right.
And audit paper, I still remember you coming out and telling me there were so many tricks, and I don't know how the paper went.
Yes,
And
true.
thankfully, it really went good for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, anything by which you feel you've changed as a person? Like this entire experience of writing the US CPA paper, clearing it one paper at a time, having a method, and like how do you think you have changed as a person? And is there anything that you're going to carry with you once you are now a CPA?
So I'm like, in my opinion, earlier I used to think like, okay, if I'm 80% clear, it's fine, I can do it. Like, but with USCPA, you should be clear like thoroughly with all the subjects, with all the topics. I think that's different. And now that I worked again, like when I did CA, I was not working. After that, I worked. So I can like correlate things now better when I was studying. So even when you were giving examples of different companies, balance sheets, everything, then I was able to relate more to it compared to when I did Indian CA because that time I didn't had that much exposure. So this was a better experience. And now like I have also started thinking like for everything I think analytically, like okay, if this not then that, if that not then this can happen. So it's like more reasoning is there in my mind now.
Yes, yeah, okay. I totally agree with what you're saying because I have experienced something similar. Strangely, I cleared my paper somewhere in the year 2009 10. And since then, this concept of modular approach, breaking down things and then correlating, that's the idea that has remained with me throughout. And I think that has changed me as a human being also. Now, whenever you look at a problem, I generally have a
Yeah,
tendency to break it down into smaller parts and then correlate and not just rush through. You know
right,
that
right, true.
that concept has stayed with me. Yeah. So yes, that's great. And so now, what's the plan like? You want to get into job here? I think your daughter is very young, right?
Yeah, but now she's going to school. She'll go to second grade now. So I'm
Okay.
looking for job right now.
Then that's really great. Couple of last words for our listeners. Something that you would want to say us, and something that you would want to tell everybody who's listening to you and looking and learning from your experience.
So I would say like always be positive. Even if like one attempt you fail, it's not the end of the world. So you should always be positive. And second thing, like I know like with work and studies, it's not possible to take out much time, but always keep a free time like you mentioned, right? So always keep one particular day or maybe like half a day for yourself and your family. So it refreshes you actually, and then it helps you to study better. That is what I felt like during my journey, definitely.
Yeah,
So,
I totally agree. I totally, totally agree. See, that's the reason we've had morning classes because weekday morning classes. Because I feel that whatever you're doing it for such a long time that it's very important to have the family, the work, and everything. And along with it, you need to study. So I
right,
always just say that keep one half of your weekend, like Saturday, Sunday, keep
right.
one half completely free so that it should not be that your family is feeling deprived.
Yeah,
And all of
because
that
my daughter,
desperation
she'll
builds up.
always say, Mama, you are always studying. Why you are not spending time with me? So it was like, okay, I have this particular day. Daily I'll spend time, but they always want more, right? So every Friday night, okay, movie night, this, that. So she is also like happy, and I'm also refreshed, and I'm not guilty actually for not able to spend time with you. So that's really important.
Yes, I really agree. And I think that is why, over a consistent period of 12, 14 months that you took to complete your paper, I genuinely feel that you were one person who were completely focused and you could come in and you could come out. That's the reason every week I saw you replenish and I saw you relating, correlating, coming back and giving your best shot and not losing yourself in the process. Because, I think to keep that sanity and to be really confident of what you're going to do, I think that's very important, but you're not dropping any balls, you're having everything in a balanced manner. So balance, I think, is very important, and you cannot think of just doing this and leaving the others. Maybe you will have to change your timings and the focus, but yeah, I totally agree that balance is something is very important because you cannot just leave everything and then sit and do only CPA. Now you have your
Right.
family to look after and your work to look after. Yes, I think that's a very good.
Definitely your messages before the exams, they were really motivating.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember talking to you mostly all the exams before that we
Yes.
had over, right? And after every exam, you used to come out and say, yeah, there were a lot of traps, but I think I did a good job. You remember? Yeah,
Yes,
it was
ma'am.
it was lovely to have you with us, Lakshmi. It was really good to have somebody as dedicated as you are. And I think that helped, I don't know, in ways more than one could see that there's so many others who got inspired by you. There were people who were struggling to manage their work and life. There were people with you who had joined and who were not able to write a single paper, either because they felt that, something else is required. But for you, there are a lot of others who gained courage. They were like, no, we could also do it one paper at a time, just the way Lakshmi did. Right. So I think that's a great thing to be a beacon of hope for so many
Yeah.
others who are struggling and who yet don't know their place. What I'm trying to tell you is that rub off effect is very, very big because when you see somebody doing it, it's easier for the others to correlate to it. So you were a
Right.
big beacon of hope for everybody at Pixelon, and we are so proud to have you with us. Wishing you all the
Thank you so
best.
much, ma'am.
And I
Thank you
really
so much.
hope that this approach that you have of taking one thing at a time, sticking, not losing yourself, not getting overwhelmed, I'm sure that this approach is going to take you a very long way ahead.
Thank you so
Wishing
much,
you
ma'am.
all the best. And yes, you're a part of our family, and we would love to see you and prosper. see you prosper and bounce.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm sure there's so many others who would see you and they would be inspired. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, ma'am.